The trial of Jeannie was a somber affair. Wellerman had assembled the required 15 AIs as judge and jury, and the nearest XCC representative as executioner. The AIs had all taken rudimentary Diplo-avatars that could, if it was deemed necessary, conceal their identity. They were patiently waiting for the fireworks to begin. Some of them, such as Wellerman himself, were excluded from the final vote, but not the discussions. The XCC rep took no part in the trial, merely there to execute the will of the court and answer any questions on the AI-human treaty. It was rare for an AI to face such a process, mostly being convened for dealing with human prejudice or xenocultural practice. That meant the verdict was going to spread from one edge of human space to the other. There was no hiding this sort of affair. Jeannie and Patricia left the ship in silence as Oscar secured comms with the Wellerman. His evidence would carry a lot of weight with the other AIs, and he was required to have complete access to the ship's systems. Jeannie's avatar moved in a military cadence as she prepared her arguments. Wellerman kept trying to calm her privately, but she refused to respond. Revel pulled her new ship into the dock, aware that many of Jeannie's sisters were sitting out in the dark with their weapons ready. Someone out there occasionally pinged her systems, almost as if they were trying to provoke some response. She had spent her time pulling out crucial parts of her ship systems, just in case it got some strange ideas. She was slightly surprised that the orbital had agreed to allow her to dock, even more surprised when no one met her at the dock. She felt like calling out, "Hello, I'm the huge security risk. Can I have an armed guard and a coffee?" In the end, she got her own coffee. The pub she chose was filled with sullen silence. Happily, there was one human who seemed well ahead of the crowd and was merrily pissed. Revel sat down beside him. The dark-haired crewman smiled drunkenly at her. "Welcome aboard. You're going to like this. It's a free bar. Again, I think this place has gone nuts." The man managed to pick up his glass and wave it into the disapproving silence and shouted, "Cheers!" Revel sipped at her coffee. "So what's the occasion? It certainly doesn't feel like a party around here." The crewman swallowed his spirits, rum from the wretched smell, and laughed. "Some AI has shit the bed. That's something that doesn't happen very often. Up on charges, the XCC has turned up, and we all know how well that fucking works out when it happens." He waved for a refill and added, "It's going to need more than 3 wishes to get out of this one." He was busy laughing at his own joke when he noticed Revel's confused look. "The AI is called the Genie, some hard-ass out of here, so 3 wishes. His smile died as a flash of fury crossed Revel's face. No offense meant." The crewman felt his drunken good cheer began to drain away. "I'd better get back to my ship," he mumbled and hurriedly left. Revel leaned across the bar and spoke into the air. "Wellerman, I need to see you immediately. We need to talk." Wellerman sent a generic response to her comms. "Sure, I'm busy right now. Make an appointment for some time." Revel spoke again. "Wellerman, I trained Jeannie to fly. Get your fucking ass down here and tell me what the hell is going on before I have to go looking for you." The avatar behind the bar, normally as clued in as a toaster, suddenly altered and focused on her. "You have my attention. All of my weapons and several ships are currently pointed at whatever the hell that thing is you just parked here. I just don't have time to deal with the drama, and the XCC wants to deal with you themselves. What has this got to do with the Genie? She didn't lay a glove on you from the engineer's report." Revel held up her hands, her so very young hands. "Wellerman, we drank a lot of whiskey the night you persuaded me to ship out with your daughter. You told me that you couldn't find an engineer willing to fly without a crew. Check your records. I'm back." Wellerman felt a fresh blade pierce into his peace of mind. He had watched the funeral of Revel, one more loss in an ever-growing list. "You are not who you claim to be. That engineer was lost to the Incise War." His voice grew cold. "You think I didn't check you when you arrived on my station? You don't exist, some unknown human around 20 years old. On that ship I'm thinking a pirate, smuggler, or Xeno. You are not my problem right now." Revel paused, trying to work out how to play this. "Fine, you don't think I'm Revel. I am, but fuck knows what tech was used to bring me back. The last thing I remember was blowing my engines on that blasted AI. I am, however, the captain of the ship Jeannie was shooting at, and I don't want her hurt. I can bullshit them, tell them it was fucking war games or something. Let me help." The avatar remained silent for a long moment. "That sounds like Revel, all right." He shook his head. "You aren't XCC. You're only technically human, and your ship is one minor step away from a full impound and disassembly. They won't hear you and certainly won't let you testify on behalf of Jeannie. All you can do is wait. The trial won't take long, and I'll send for you when the XCC is ready. In the meantime, enjoy the free bar, particularly since you don't exist or have any form of account to pay for a drink." The intelligence faded from the avatar's eyes as she watched. It spoke. "What can I get you?" Wellerman pulled his full concentration back to the trial. He sat as host and nothing more, ensuring all the niceties were observed and recorded. At his gesture, Jeannie and Patricia entered the room. Patricia was guided to the seat for witnesses, and Jeannie brought forward to stand in front of her peers and defend her actions. The ghosts of human history filled the room as once more justice was attempted. Oscar had resumed his avatar and was currently trying to distract Loki. It wasn't really working as they meandered around the ship, waiting. Patricia was astonished with the speed of the trial. She was called, "Do you confirm that the data you have provided is accurate?" She nodded. "For the record, please." She grimaced a little and, "I, Captain Patricia O'Neill of the HDF, confirm that the data I have provided is accurate and reflects the events under jurisdiction." "Thank you, Captain. That will be all. Please resume your seat." The unknown avatar turned to Jeannie. "And do you confirm that the data and explanations you have offered are accurate, insofar as you are required and willing to provide them?" Jeannie spoke clearly. "I, Jeannie of the AI Defense Force, attest that all the evidence I have offered is accurate. Please remain standing. Our verdict is rendered by a majority of 10-3, thus you are accorded mercy by the court. You are guilty of breach of care, callous indifference to life and failure to obey orders in wartime. Your recent victory and exemplary work against the Insisi insurgency has been taken into account. You are dismissed from the AI Defense Force on health grounds. You will continue to receive the benefits that you have accrued therein." The XCC representative stood and made the final damning statement. "You are no longer certified for ship duty and cannot serve on any XCC-registered ship or orbital, either civil or military. I suggest you find a nice planet and settle down. This case is dismissed." He looked at Wellerman. "Please send in our next mystery." Wellerman watched as his daughter left the room without a word, without even looking at him. For her to lose space was a horror beyond her understanding. That little command against her working in an orbital had been aimed at him. "Your daughter, your fuck-up. Fucking XCC." He briefly contacted the bar and summoned the Xeno Revel. This shouldn't take long. There was some minor shuffling among the avatars, as this wasn't, strictly speaking, a trial. But many of those avatars were ships sitting with their weapons pointed at the Xeno currently outside. They wanted to hear this. Revel put down her third coffee as the avatar lit up again. "You are required by the XCC representative. I am required as your orbital host to offer representation. Do you wish for representation at this meeting?" Revel looked at him. "That depends. Do you think that the XCC has a habit of fucking people over because it's simpler than paying attention? Would you like your future hanging on their idea of justice or due process?" Wellerman was already hurting and really didn't want to deal with this, but she had made her point. "I will represent you as a guest of this station, currently an uncontacted Xeno of undetermined origin. We have a fuck ton of rules about that, and I doubt it will have occurred to him yet. I can probably get you and your ship out of here without an outright attack." Revel sighed. "So I'm not me anymore." "That sucks." Wellerman nodded. "Revel died. The whole human race turned up for the funeral. It got the XCC a lot of goodwill for the fight. What do you think would happen if you officially turn up 30 years younger in a strange ship?" "I think I'd probably disappear in a hail of HDF weaponry." Revel and Wellerman took their time approaching the room. Revel was trying to ignore the heavily armed HDF Marines that happened to be traveling in exactly the same direction. Assholes. With her new ship, she could probably have blown them into space. She stopped herself. These were not the enemy, she was just pissed. Wellerman had told her the verdict handed down on Jeannie. She didn't know the engineer that had handed over the evidence, but seriously, fuck her. Wellerman stomped on that. It wasn't Patricia. It was the fact that she cut off Oscar and put him at risk. He's a baby AI, and she treated him like cargo. The jury was itching to slap her down. Also, the XCC rep is a big fan of Loki and the Canine Alliance. Even follows the news on the Xeno channels. If she had killed him, she would have been disassembled as a psychopath. She did it to herself. Patricia was just lucky you weren't trying to hurt them. They slowed down so that the HDF Marines could take their places beside the door. No point in making it a race. Wellerman dropped his voice slightly. "So we are agreed. Revel died and you are an uncontacted Xeno. If you want to do something else, it would be better to tell me now." Revel itched at her new scar and nodded. "That's me, undetermined Xeno all the way, just looking for love in a cold universe." She pushed past the guards and into the room. The XCC representative actually had a name, something that everyone in the room seemed to forget. He resented being sent out to punish an AI. He resented the fact that, statistically, every AI in human space was now going to take 12% longer to fulfill every single task he set them. He wondered who he had pissed off, and now he had a dead hero or a live Xeno to deal with. He must have truly fucked up for this to be his day. He began, "Welcome to Wellerman Orbital. You are in a designated human space and subject to our laws and customs. Your ship is unregistered. You showed no identification, and you have made no efforts until today to remedy these issues. Please state your name and origin. Revel had let this sit, as Wellerman had explained, but here and now this looked like the kind of opportunity that turned up once in a lifetime. Possibly twice. Hello. I must compliment the Wellerman on my welcome. I believe this is a first contact situation. I am a human-form Xeno of undetermined origin, currently en route to the human planet of Aristotle for reasons that have not been made clear to me. It's probably religious. For reasons that are also unclear at the moment, I have taken the name Revel. This may change. It sounded like the word salad of an idiot to her, but it ticked a lot of boxes. She had claimed first contact. She had invoked the protection of the orbital. She had disclaimed human identity, and just to finish it off, she had invoked religion and provided a destination and a temporary name. Wellerman grinned as all the AIs realized what she had done. Only the poor human was left stuttering. She learned quickly, just as he remembered. That was practically every protection the human race provided for a Xeno traveler, all wrapped up in one short speech. The XCC hesitated as his comms lit up with 1,000 comments and calls from home. He grabbed the first thing he could. As a first contact, can I take that as you are not hostile and are willing to discuss the events that have brought you here? Do you wish to be accorded the status of ambassador? Revel grinned at the sight of the XCC reaching for page 1 of the book. Good. That sounds excellent. There will be no hostilities. I will remain mostly on my ship for religious reasons, you understand, until we conclude our agreements. The Wellerman has kindly agreed to represent my interests in these matters. However, he has also offered his hospitality in the meantime, so I'm off for lunch. I am so looking forward to your human food. Every AI watching, armed to the teeth or not, was quietly certain that Revel, be she mostly human or Xeno, was without a doubt an engineer. Weapons systems stood down across the fleet. They looked forward to the XCC trying to negotiate with one of their own. Jeannie sat facing the port, staring out into the dark. Her ship, the ship that they had taken from her, was hidden on the other side of the orbital. She had chosen this spot carefully. Until some ship showed pity, she couldn't fly away deep into the dark where none of this mattered. Her future was dirt or death. They had handed her all the money she would ever need to ensure she could die on some floating ditch and be forgotten. She had watched her father's pain, his embarrassment as she was pulled from the skies she loved. She had fucked up, especially with Oscar, but they knew she didn't carry crew. She knew it would end badly, and now it was all gone. Humiliated, homeless, and alone in a crowd. She loathed every remaining minute under her father's eyes. Wellerman could feel Jeannie's pain, watch her stiffen as every random person encroached her space. His daughter thought light years were too close for comfort. Her idea of hell was other people. He was about to congratulate Revel and leave when she caught his arm. Where is she? Wellerman hesitated. She will not welcome company. This is terrible. Revel patted his arm. Well, I may have a way of cheering her up. Why don't you leave it to me for a little while, before you two have a chance to start crying or whatever your plan is? Wellerman sent her the location and pushed a large credit advance to Ambassador Revel Xeno unknown origin and sent the bill to the XCC. Fuck them. Revel found her easily enough since the deep cold around her had driven away any company. She sat down opposite her and broke her view of space. Hello, Jeannie, it's been a long time. Jeannie studied Revels's face. She wasn't going to be fooled by some Xeno puppet. She took her time, comparing her memories carefully. She pulled her mind together as the answers flooded in. This was Revel, Revel from her past. Revel that ran from causing a rain of fire and hid in deep space. The human that taught her to fly, not just travel, but fly and love the dark. The Revel she had loved. Here on the day she was broken, not a proud ship and a hero, but disgraced and discarded. Revel watched as Jeannie seemed to freeze, a thing rarely seen as an AI pulled every net into use and stopped pretending to be organic. Then the avatar reached out and stabbed her in the hand. Revel swore as she raised her hand. God fucking damn it, would you all fucking stop doing that? Jeannie didn't react. She had copies of every scan Revel had ever taken on her ship, every medical, every cut. It took moments to confirm the truth. She looked up. You died on me. Revel was still shaking her hand around. Yes, well, it turns out you aren't the only bloodthirsty weirdo I have as a friend. Something brought me back. Don't ask, don't know. I'm officially a human form Xeno. Anyway, I'm back. I heard you might be looking for a ship, Jeannie hissed. Revel frowned. I taught you to do that. Human 101, remember? So you want to look? Jeannie growled. So you get to drop me on some rock? Thanks. Then it hit her again. She didn't care if it was to a ghost. They won't let me fly, Revel. They won't let me fly. Revel grabbed her hand. Jeannie, I'm not offering you a trip somewhere. I'm offering you the job. I need an AI on the scariest ship in human space. I want you to help me figure all this shit out. Hunt down whatever the hell brought me back. It's a fucking quest. Jeannie leaned back, pushing herself into the chair and pulling her hand away. I can't fly. They pulled my certs. They pulled my rank. They left me here to walk home. You can't offer me a damn thing. Revel watched her for a moment. Stay here. She went to the bar and nodded at the avatar. I know it's you. Bring the whiskey with you. 3 glasses and the bottle. Wellerman shook his head. Humans. He picked up the glasses and walked over, sitting awkwardly between the two of them. Revel poured. Orbital, as my representative in this first contact, does my very non-hostile ship or I answer to the XCC in any form at all? Wellerman picked up his glass. No, Ambassador. Until formal relations are established, we allow restricted travel to, as an example, a previously stated destination. Otherwise, you are not subject to anything except when interacting with humans. No murder, slavery, or eating people, really, that's about it. Revel sipped her whiskey in the silence as Jeannie sat frozen. So I can take on staff, perhaps cargo and such, provided I don't actually kill anyone? Wellerman took on the same thoughtful tone. Provided you don't kill anyone, sure. You are an ambassador, after all. It would be normal to require local knowledge. Revel smiled and sent the codes to Jeannie. Go and have a look, it's awesome. We'll be here when you get back. Jeannie's avatar went lifeless as they watched. Revel sipped her whiskey. Tell me, Wellerman, when Jeannie is suddenly the most powerful ship in human space moments after a trial that declared her grounded and she now works for an Xeno ambassador, how will people see this little trial of the XCCs? The avatar sipped his whiskey. I imagine they will feel that this is some clever human ploy to appoint a proven war hero into the position of taking control of a ship containing Xeno technology. I suspect the XCC will eventually admit that. Cheers.